Hello, CD Bestie, Aku Kamal. Check out my interview with CreativeDisc.com, the #1 music website in Indonesia.
Hello, CD Bestie. Welcome back to another CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me, Lutfi. And right now, we've got a singer and songwriter. He's born out of pandemic time. His music got viral in this pandemic, in this past pandemic times. And he's still only 20 years old, but he's got many gigs right now. And the one that I surprised the most is like he's got singing on the Jules Holland, the legendary program in UK, because of his viral song. And he's got approval from Billie Eilish, and he's got very viral in South Korea. So without further ado, this is my guest today. This is Kamal. Hello, Kamal.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you too for having me too. So, Kamal, what kind of activity that you're doing right now?
Well, just in my day?
Yes.
Literally, man, it's still pretty early here, so I just woke up, had a little bit of cereal, and read a little bit of a book, and then came upstairs for this.
Okay. So in London, it's like 10:44, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
But my sleeping schedule is mashed up, so normally I'll be up at like 11 at the earliest.
Can relate. Very relate.
At the earliest.
Okay. So if you can yourself describe Kamal, what is Kamal?
I am a singer-songwriter from Northwest London, and I make sort of mellow indie pop R&B music.
All right. So let's talk more about your newest single called Essential. What is Essential? Tell me more about it.
Okay, Essential. This is pretty much like a classic. It's a classic heartbreak track. It's sort of like, it's about the moment after a breakup where you realize that you can actually keep on moving on with your life without that person, and it's not gonna like be the end of the world. And it's sort of about the sort of the powerful feeling that you get from that when you realize that you can move on. But yeah, I proper like it. It's my first track where I'm sort of putting some proper sort of rocky, grungy vibes out in the production, which I thought was a nice thing to do, and it felt good.
Because I think Essential is very different from your discography. When I heard it, I found this track is very different, because the start of it is very mellow, just like you, and right on before the middle of the song, I think you start pumping out more beat. I think more pumping out to the beat, more bass to the beat, I think. So what kind of the thinking behind this approach?
Honestly, I think it's a reflection of the lyrics in the song, which is sort of like, it's definitely it sort of represents the sort of freedom, but also the built up anger from a relationship that's over. So it's sort of just this release of emotion in the middle bit. And the reason it sort of cuts out is because it's like dancing between sort of having control over that emotion and letting that emotion out.
I think it's like release, I think. Things like that, like the emotion, like you release the emotion, right?
Yeah.
On this part. Okay,
sure.
so I think on this song, it is like a new era from you, I think, in this era, I think, because you've gonna release a new mixtape, and you've got and what's the difference between this new mixtape and your latest project?
Okay, so I think honestly the difference really is it's more developed as a project in terms of the fact that it's sort of pulling from more different genres in terms of its inspiration, and it has more of a sort of shape to it. I think the last one was nice, but it was like all sort of mellow and pretty stripped down and minimal in terms of production. And I think this one is just a sort of advancement from the last one. It still has the sort of same soft sounding and mellow songs on it, but it also has ones that are like more like essential with the more upbeat parts, and it has some that are sort of trying new things completely in terms of sounds that I feel like I haven't explored before, and even themes that I haven't explored before. So I'm definitely excited to see what people think of it. But I feel like for me, it's just one more step in sort of growth as an artist, and figuring out who I am and my identity in the musical space.
All right, so I think you one of the artists that born into the pandemic time. I think you've got very viral track in the pandemic time. So what's your feeling when you got big in a very difficult time?
I think honestly, it's just grateful that during something that was so tough for so many people, I was able to share with people something that brought some joy or some comfort to some people, and that's a really, I don't know, it's a powerful thing to feel like you're a part of, and I'm grateful for that for sure. I think a lot of us during that time, all we were really doing was trying to find sort of light in a dark place and trying to find the good out of a bad situation. So I'm just glad that we could have that little, that the people that were connected to that could have that little moment.
So what's your approach when making the song? Because I think all of your works, I think it's very simple. You just let it out your voice and let the simple beat and the simple piano simple piano to play it. I think what's the approach when you are making the song? Because making a relatable song, I think it's kind of very hard, I think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think it's for me, I sort of grew up writing songs on my own anyway. On the piano, I sort of just come up with some chords, a pattern of chords, and then sort of sing melodies over the top until I found one that I liked. And then based on the sort of combination of the chords and melody and the feeling that evoked in me, I would then I would then put the lyric to that based on the feeling that it made me feel, type thing. And that's still definitely a large part of the process. But I think like you said, there's a certain simplicity and minimalism in some of the music. I think it's largely because it sometimes feels more honest when it's more stripped back, and it feels more vulnerable, and it feels like it can give the lyrics and simple melodies more time to shine if there's a sort of pocket of space created for them.
But I think you want to maximize some things. I think this is the difference, the difficult things when you are making a slower music. I think because as a person, you want to making a track full maximize, full of sound effect, full of many beats, but you must try to strip down. Is it like a challenging for you to making strip down music and more laid back and chill music? I think
it's quite natural, but also what I like about it is that it means on the times when you do want to use something that is more upbeat or more complex, like you said about the Essential track, it was almost a shock for you to hear when it came in with the heavy guitar beat in the middle. It's like it gives you more power to play with those elements, so when they do come in, they can have more of an impact than they otherwise would. And I think a lot of music and art in general these days is sort of being crowded by these ideas that are properly extreme and attention grabbing. And I think sometimes it's nice to strip it back down so that you can actually put the power back into those things that are attention grabbing.
So you say that simplicity is the king, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a law that I live by, but it's definitely something that is great to use in music, like refined things.
Oh, okay. So you've got making a simple track in pandemic, and boom, right now you've on the Jules Holland. How does it feel,
Mm-hmm.
man? How does it feel?
That's
moving fast like this.
That's crazy. It's crazy, man. Honestly, it's crazy because like I remember watching that show with my dad ages ago and seeing other artists on it. And like it's just mad inspiring to be able to feel like you can sort of look up to something and then like realize that it's achievable in your life. So yeah, that was mad inspiring, and the whole thing was just a completely surreal experience. I was properly scared when I was performing, but we got through it.
Okay, so you've already entered the BRIT School. Like, what's the biggest lesson when you are entering the BRIT School? Because the BRIT School is already home to many great artists. what's the thing that you learned the most on the BRIT School?
Honestly, the most important thing and the thing that I got the most from that school was being around other people who are creative and other people who are doing music. Like, I can't explain how important it is to like surround yourself by other people that are inspiring and have creative ideas. And like coming out of that school now, if I need someone to do cover art, I have a friend who's amazing at that. If I need someone to shoot a video, I know people that are doing that. Like, I know people that are in all sort of different sides of the creative industry, and I think that was the biggest tool that the BRIT School actually granted me.
Wow. Okay. So this is the hardest question that many artists that can't answer it fast. So mention 5 things we didn't know about you. And you tell before that you love video games. Tell me, just tell me your 5 things we didn't
5.
know
Okay,
about
well,
Kamal.
I'm cheating and I'm using video games as one. I love video games. I love playing FIFA. I love playing Call of Duty.
What's the favorite video games?
I can't lie, it has to be FIFA. Like, I know it's boring, but FIFA is just like, it's the one
No,
that you
it's
can
not
play
boring.
all the time, anytime. I just listen to music, put it on, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Another, I think one of my regular secrets is that I'm allergic to nuts. It's not the most fun secret, but it's a harsh reality.
The third one.
Pardon?
The third one, maybe your favorite TV series, your favorite of movie.
Favorite movie. My favorite series, I'd say, is something called The Wire, which I think people should check out. Which is really good.
Wow.
So favorite songs, like the hardest one. I reckon my favorite song right now might be "Many Times" by Dijon. He's just dropped an amazing album called Absolutely.
Yes.
Which is properly great stuff. How many am I on now?
4. The final one. It must go with a bang. The 5th one.
Final one. Gosh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I've got. This is a kind of interesting one. Before my first ever headline show in London, which I played last year, which was amazing. Before that, I did a secret headline show where I went and I did a practice show, and I went out into the countryside in the UK, in this sort of like rural area, and I played a show to about 5 people, just so I could sort of get the nerves out of my system.
How does it feel to play in so many 5 people? Only 5 people. Sorry.
Honestly, it was more scary than playing for the big crowds. There's something about seeing the people right there. So it's more personal.
Why? Because you've got playing with pups before. I think it's different from playing pups to pups.
I just feel like the smaller crowds, it's like when you can actually see all the people in the room, it's like you're more aware of the presence. Whereas when it's the big crowds, it just feels like this crazy thing. It's sort of so surreal and so insane that you can't even process it as much as you can process the small crowds.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting fact about you. Okay, so my very last question: what can we expect from your new mixtape? So here you are drowning.
Right, so it's coming out on March 17th, and you can expect all different, like I said, like a development of my sound and a development of that sort of the sonic world that I'm building. And I think the bulk of the material is realistically about love. It's about a relationship, a specific relationship, and about relationships in general, and the sort of journey that you go on when you're from the start of a relationship to the end of it.
That's so complex, I think, but I think it's very simple but complex yet. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Kamal, and thank you very much for thank you very much for all our viewers who viewing this. Don't forget to stream all of the Kamal songs on the on the streaming platform, and don't forget to watch out his new mixtape called "So Here You Are Drowning," released on 17th March, 7 days after my birthday on 10th March. Ooh,
yes, sir.
Okay, so follow all the Kamal social media. I'm Lutfi from CreativeDisc. Don't forget to subscribe CreativeDisc too. And once again, this is Kamal. Thank you. you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.